All right. So, as you may know, we are in the spring session of 2023, and this is called Philosophy 2050. And I'm Professor Yvette, as I told you before. You can call me whatever you need to. Basically, this week we will cover chapters 1 and 2, which is including ethics and ethical reasoning, and also religion and global ethics. We're only going to touch on religion and global ethics because none of that is going to be on your midterm. But I want to cover it because it does have a congruency to some of the things that you're going to be talking about in the future. So this week's objective is for us to define ethics, to have ethical evaluations, to discuss religion and global ethics. And your first assignment is due Tuesday, January the 1st, by 11:59 p.m. You'll post it in Canvas. And then what we're going to be using this week is just your critical thinking skills. We're going to describe the philosophical study of ethics, and we're going to use these things to apply the learning and identify how we can solve problems and transfer learning to new situations. And so I'm hoping that as we go through this, and I see your hand and I'm going to answer in just a second, Dominique, I hope that by the time we finish this class, that you are thinking differently, that you are more engaged, and you see things from a different perspective. Yes, Dominique. Yeah, your hand raised.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Just wanted to confirm. So it's just due next Tuesday because you said the 1st, but I just wanted to be sure. The
January
17th, right?
17th. Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
January 17th. Can you see the screen?
Yep, I can. Just wanted to make sure.
Yes, yes. So it's next week. You'll always have a week, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit too. If you know for some reason or another something has happened, something's gone on, and you cannot get something in on time, I'm not one of those sticklers that I'm going to say, we're not going to take your stuff. Just let me know in advance. Don't let me know afterwards. Let me know in advance. That's why you're going to have all my numbers. You're going to have everything to get in touch with me so that I can make sure that you're able to get in all of your assignments and get all of the credit that you need. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. So here in your syllabus, and I just kind of want to give this a breakdown. For your spring session, all of your assignments that you'll have for the semester will a total of 1,000 points. Okay, most of them are like 100 points, some of them are 50, but the total for all of the assignments is 1,000 points. That's the maximum that you can get of just the regular points. This is with no extra credit assignments, but you're going to get lots of opportunities for extra credit assignments. So just in case something goes awry, maybe you didn't get points here, you can always get points somewhere else. The final project that you have is not a paper, it's a presentation. The reason why I changed that perspective is you'll have papers in some of your other courses. This is a critical thinking course that allows you to try to convince and instruct and hopefully get people to understand your ideas from an ethical standpoint. And so that's why a presentation is great. When we talk more about that, your final project will be mostly dealing with the thesis, your points, your counterpoints, but you're going to get a whole lot of points for creativity. Okay? Your midterm is worth 300 points. We're going to have study sheets that are going to help you to prepare for that. Project parts toward your final part, there's 2 parts of that. Those are due, will have 200 points. And then every time that you're in class and that you say anything and share anything, you get 10 points automatically each time that you're here. So that comes up to 300 points for the whole semester. So if you're here, and you make a comment, and you make, you answer questions, that's going to automatically give you participation points. And then the quiz that's going to prepare you for the midterm, because I don't ever want you to feel like you're not prepared for that midterm, is worth 100 points. And we will be talking more about that in the study sheet. So what's the total amount that you're going to get of non-extra credit points? What does it say? Anybody?
2,300.
Repeat the question.
2,300 points. That's the maximum that you will get of regular points for the semester, not to include extra credit. So like I said, if you are struggling in an area, maybe you missed an assignment, maybe there's something else that happened, maybe you didn't do as well on something else, you'll always have other extra credit that will be able to bring up your grade, okay? Because I want you all to walk out here with A's. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
Okay, great. Awesome. So the next thing is, let's do some introductions. So let me share a little bit about myself, and then what I want you to do is I want you to share as well. Our introductions, as you can see here on the board, is I want you to share your name. If you could change your name, what would it be? Where were you born? Where are you living now? What's your major at Generations College? Tell me something that makes you happy. What do you consider your favorite snack? So I'll start. So my name is Yvette Breckenridge. If I could change my name, I think I would change my name to Tina. I like Tina. I was born in Chicago, born and raised. I live now in Villa Park, but I've lived in Central Indiana as well. I did not attend Generations College, but I got a bachelor's from DePaul University. I have a master's from Liberty University in Human and Social Services, and I have a master's of divinity from Liberty Theological Seminary in divinity. And what makes me happy? It makes me happy to share good times with family. And what's my favorite snack? I think my favorite snack right now is Garrett's popcorn. Anybody else want to start?
I'll go. Well, my name is Yasmin. If I could change my name, honestly, I wouldn't, because when I was younger, I wanted to change my name because I thought it was ugly when I was younger. But as I, grew up, I realized that my name was beautiful and it meant, and it's very rare, and I'm a rare person, I believe. So I wouldn't change it. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I resided a few places, Connecticut, Florida for about 6 years, PA a little bit, and then I came back to New Jersey where I actually live now. My major here is business.
Okay.
Something that makes me happy is my children, Alexandria, who will be 8 on the 23rd of this month, and my son Noah, who will be 7 in February, on February 10th. My favorite snack I would consider Smoothie King. I love a smoothie. I love me a pineapple smoothie. So, yep, that's it.
That's great. Thank you for sharing, Yasmin.
Thank you.
Who's going to go next?
I can go.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Brittany Marshall. If I could change my name, maybe Kalia. I always like that name, but I like my first name also. My favorite snack is, I want to say ice cream.
Okay.
Any ice cream except for like cookie dough ice cream. I just feel like it's too much going on with that one. I am currently in the midst of getting my real estate license. I finished my course December 20th. I'm in the criminal justice major, and that's pretty much it. Wait, did I miss any questions?
Yeah, where were you born, where you're living now, and what makes you happy?
Oh, okay. So I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and that's where I stay now. Also, what makes me happy? It's just completing like small goals that I have set for myself.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing, Brittany. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Hello. I'm
Hello.
gonna get on my camera so you guys can see my face. Okay, so my name's Dominique. If I had to change my name, I would change it to Paris because I already pretty much go by that as my nickname. I was born in Chicago. I currently live in Chicago. My major at Generations is paralegal, which this is actually my last semester.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Something that makes me happy. Thank you. About to be graduating is something that makes me happy. And like being around my family and friends and going to church.
Okay.
What do I consider my favorite snack? I really love snacking. So I love a good cake, like a good something cakey, I think is like my favorite snack, or nachos, but that's more of like a meal for me.
Okay. Well, it can be both. So that's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing, guys. I appreciate it. One of the things I also want to let you guys know that there's another way that you guys can earn points throughout this time, and it's through our chat. And so sometimes I'm going to put up some trivia that's usually related to our lesson or something I've talked about. And I'll put up the options there. You put it in there. And if you do that each time, you get 10 more points. So that always helps you toward your grade. All right. So now as we proceed through knowing about our sessions, knowing about getting to know each other, and I'm excited about that. Why study ethics? Well, besides the fact that this is required for you through Generations College, why study ethics for you and I is because we often disagree about the questions of value. No matter whether or not we are in criminal justice or if we're paralegal or whether or not we're in business, there's always people who are going to disagree on various topics, particularly hot topics. The questions come, should same-sex marriage be legal? Well, we know that it's legal in the United States currently because, the Supreme Court indicated that, it should be. And then there has been legislation that has been passed recently to also protect those rights. Should women have abortions? We know that Roe versus Wade was just overturned this summer. We understand that each state now gets to make a decision as to whether or not a woman has a right to have an abortion, regardless of whether or not she's been molested or raped or, just the right of her being able to have that abortion. Should drugs like marijuana or shrooms be legalized? Some states have determined it, others have not. We know that a famous basketball player was locked up in prison in Russia recently because of carrying a cartridge that had, traces of TCE in her cartridge, and which was illegal in Russia. Should we torture terrorists to gain information from them? The question of waterboarding, whether or not that's something that's right and moral, should we eat animals? There are people who are vegans who will be vehemently opposed to that. Or should we use animals in medical experiments? Because many of the things that we know today in terms of treatment comes from how we were able to have lab rats and other animals in our particular laboratories in order to come up with things that were able to help and save the lives of humans. And these are the sorts of questions that allow us to have a divergence of ideas, what is right and what is wrong. Now, Dominique, Yasmin, but Brittany, if I were to ask you today on these topics, you all right now may disagree on many of these topics. You may disagree on the things that we're talking about, and you may be on different sides for different reasons. And so that is why we study ethics, because we have to expose these ideas, different ideas that each of us have about what we consider right and wrong. What we consider right and wrong comes from many different sources in our lives, how we are exposed in our lives, how our families allowed us to grow, what we believe religiously, what we believe politically, what we believe, morally. There's a lot of things that tie into ethics. Now, why study ethics? Well, the reason why we study ethics is because study of ethics helps us to look at life critically and evaluate our actions, our choices, and our decisions. And it assists us in knowing what is best for us and what we must do to obtain it. And the study of moral philosophy can help us to think better about morality. Studying ethics will improve our ability to engage with one another in an ethical dialogue. Have you ever, and this is a question I'm going to ask you guys, and you all can all answer. Have you ever gotten into a discussion, a heated discussion about a topic? Maybe it was over Kanye West. Maybe it was over something that was happening in the political realm. Have you ever gotten into a heated discussion with people about something?
Yes, all the time.
How did it go, Yasmin?
In the beginning, up, because the conversation was a little touchy, and until we came to a compromising ground, that's when we actually listened to understand both points of views of our conversation. Came to a common ground.
Yeah, that's important in discussions. That's really important. I thank you for saying specifically that. It's beginning to hear one another. Anyone else?
I definitely have. Well, I kind of like to debate a little bit, which I guess is why I want to be a paralegal, because I ultimately want to be a lawyer.
Okay.
So like she said, I mean, you really just have to listen. One thing, like one gem that I've learned is like a lot of people listen to respond versus listening to understand. So I always try to like put that in, like I can debate with you and we don't have to agree, but I can still like hear you and it not be like I'm mad or something about your opinion.
Mhm.
So I think they kind of go well. Sometimes like people will be fine and other times it's just like, well, that's your opinion. Because honestly, it's just everyone's opinion, unless you're specifically stating the facts.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, because that's important too. And I think the point well made is really being able to listen to be understood too. So very good. Thank you so much. Brittany? I see you're unmuted, but I can't hear you.
Might have to type in the box. Log out and relog it and log back in. I have to log out.
Brittany, are you still there? You may be having some technical difficulty, but I do see you trying to get on. So whenever you can be heard, just go on and blurt out, and we'll be happy to stop and hear your voice, okay? In the meantime, when we're talking about this engagement, this complex ethical dialogue with people, you're going to have different perspectives. I think what Yasmin and what Dominique was saying today is that people have different views, right? We have different perspectives. We have different ideas coming to a subject. Sometimes those ideas and those views are very strong. Have you ever had those like really strong views? And when people feel strongly about those conversations, they usually, get very passionate about it. Are you able to correct that, Brittany? That's okay. I know that you're trying, Brittany, so don't worry about it. We won't take anything away from you. I've heard from you today, so you'll definitely get your points. Don't worry about it, okay? And then you can always put stuff in the chat. So if you will live consistently with your values and think reflectively about them, you'll learn more about the world and about your place in the world. And that's going to be important in terms of ethics. Consistently in your own place in the world is important. Understanding that you don't have to agree with people in order for you to embrace your ethics, and also to invoke information that will be helpful for someone else to evolve in their ethics. You don't have to convince someone by trying to choke them and try to get that down their throat.
Are you guys able to hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, Brittany. Thank you. Thank you for. Did you want to share?
I was stating that I have gotten into those type of discussions, but they're usually with people who doesn't want to understand the other side or think outside of the box. Everything is either like black or white with them.
Mm-hmm.
I met a few people like that.
Yeah, you're right, Brittany. There are people who are very black and white, and we're going to be talking throughout this semester about these different types of thinking, because ethics comes from various places of people, their background, their understanding, their thinking. And one of the things that we were talking about is, while you were out, is that studying ethics helps us to improve that ability for us to engage in these complicated and complex ethical discussions with people who are very passionate and very black and white about their different perspectives. But also ethics, or the study of ethics, helps us to live consistently with our values and think reflectively through them and learn more about the world, because oftentimes we look at things from our perspective, from our viewpoint. And what we often do is we don't look from another viewpoint. We have very pointed views based upon where we live geographically. We live in a Western nation that is not indulged with poverty in the ways that some third world countries are. And even though we have poor among us, and we are not the richest groups of people, we do have a lot more than many countries that are around us. So we have different perspectives from that. And so that's why we study ethics, so that we can see a new and whole picture. So what I need for you to do, and you guys can put this in your chat, I want you to write your definition of ethics. Now, don't worry about having the right answer, okay? Because we're going to learn together over time. I just want to see what you're thinking about. And don't take a whole lot of time, because I'm going to set the clock, And we're going to take about 2 minutes for you. If you were to be asked today what your definition of ethics is, just put it in the chat, just so we can see it. And like I said, don't worry about it being right or wrong, because we're going to grow through this together. All right? Any questions before we start the clock?
No, you said put it in a chat box,
In
correct?
the chat, yes.
Where's the chat box? Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start the clock. Okay, so let's look at your responses. So I see one from Yasmin, I see one from Dominique. Are you still working on one, Brittany?
Oh, yes, I thought we were saying them out loud. Okay, I'll send it to you.
Okay, well, we'll just wait for you and you can say yours out loud in just a moment, okay? So Yasmin put that the way we make decisions to what we believe is right or wrong, that's how she defines ethics. Thank you so much. That's a very thoughtful way of looking at it, Yasmin.
You're welcome.
And Dominique says, ethics is living by someone that you stand behind and believe in, like your morals and values. Also, a very good response, Dominique. Thank you so much. Brittany, you can share yours out loud.
Okay, so I feel like ethics is our standards. Well, they're based off. Okay, hold on, let's start it right now. So we read it. Oh, sorry.
Remember, this is not
Okay,
a
so
right or wrong answer. This is just what you define it as right now.
I define ethics as it's basically a standard for right or wrong, and it helps with our everyday living and our decisions and what we feel is right or wrong.
Okay. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing this. What I want to do is I want to give you what is a simple definition of ethics. Just a very simple definition of ethics. A very simple definition of ethics is that ethics, which is also called moral philosophy, because that's why we're in a philosophy course. Ethics is a form of philosophy. It's a branch of philosophy. So ethics, which is also called moral philosophy, the discipline is concerned with what is morally good and bad and morally right and wrong. That's the simplest answer to define, and there's many more definitions for ethics, but this is the simple definition. Ethics, also called moral philosophy, the discipline concerned with what is morally good and bad, and morally right and wrong. That's kind of what the simple definition of ethics is. So ethics or moral philosophy, it asks us.
Wait, Professor, may you go back to that last slide real quick?
Absolutely. And also keep in mind that I will also provide you at the end of the week, after the end of Tuesday, my PowerPoint in a PDF each week for you. So you don't have to worry about missing anything. And let me know when you need me to, that I can move on.
Okay, you can go on then.
Okay. So ethics or moral philosophy asks basic questions. It asks actually 4 basic questions. It asks the question about the good life. That's one of the questions that ethics or moral philosophy asks. It asks the question about the good life. This is important for you to understand it because these 4 segments makes up the questions that are asked in philosophy of ethics. When I think about the good life about abortion, when I think about the good life regarding animal protections, when I think about the good life as it relates to same-sex marriage, when I think about the good life regarding drugs being legalized, all of these things, you have to ask these questions in these controversial things. Questions about the good life. What makes it a good life? Questions about what is better or worse and worse. Is this thing better or is this thing worse? What is better and worse about this thing that we're talking about, that we're discussing, that we're debating, that we're looking at ethically? The third question that we're asking ourselves is whether there is any objective right or wrong. Because in some things, these things are so blurred in the lines that you have to ask yourselves, is there really a right and really a wrong as it relates to this particular subject? And if it is, in my mind, what is that based upon? Because question number 4 says, the question of how we know it is, if there is one, if there is an objective right or wrong for this particular thing. So again, we're asking ourselves, when we're looking at ethics, when we're looking at these controversial things, what does this talk about the good life? Is this better or worse? Is there an objective right or wrong? And if there is an objective right or wrong, how do we know if there is an objective right or wrong for that? Does that make sense to you guys? When you're asking these questions about these difficult things. Questions?
No questions.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
No.
So when we're looking at this word, and I gave you a pronunciation for it just in case.
Epistemology. Epistemology. Epistemology.
Okay. So epistemology is the philosophy, the theory of knowledge, especially with regard to methods, validity, and scope. And epistemology is the investigation of what distinguishes justified belief from opinion. Because oftentimes when you all have gotten into those arguments, and I've gotten into those arguments with people, it's not always been about a justified belief that has been thought thoroughly through ethics. It's been an opinion. Would you agree or disagree with that, guys?
I agree.
I agree also.
I'm sorry. What was it? I couldn't hear.
That some of the arguments that you've gotten into were argued based upon someone who literally thought through and justified this belief through thinking and processing, or was it just their opinion?
Both.
Both.
Just opinion.
Okay. And some both. Yeah. So when we think about this philosophy, we think about the fact that there is truth, there is knowledge, and there is belief.
I don't know if you want to get in on this class and listen. It's about ethics.
All right. So right now we're at a bonus round, guys. This is a chance for you all to pick up an additional 10 points. So I'm gonna start the clock. The bonus is, do you remember how many total points are available in this class minus the extra credit points? Is it A, 2,100? Is it B, 2,300? Is it C, 2,500? Is it D, 2,700? You can earn 10 points by answering this question correct. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat what your answer is. And I'm going to give you a minute to do that real quickly. Okay, I see 3 answers. I think I see 3 answers. I see an answer from Dominique. I see an answer from Yasmin. Did you put an answer in there, Brittany?
I did. I just noticed I was trying to direct message it to you, but I did it to Yasmin.
Oh, okay. Which letter did you choose?
B.
Okay, everyone is correct. Very good. 10 points. Very good. I'm so glad you're listening.
What?
All right, so what I want to do is I want to get you guys to start thinking for a moment, because in ethics, we face ethical dilemmas every day, every single day of your lives. So let's look at this dilemma together. Can everybody see this?
I can.
Okay, great. You, Yasmin, Dominique, Brittany, you are at your best friend's wedding. Just an hour before the ceremony is to start. Earlier that day, I'm sorry, you came across definitive proof that your best friend's spouse-to-be is having an affair with the best man or the maid of honor, and you catch them sneaking out of the room together looking disheveled. If you tell your friend about the affair, their day will be ruined. But if you don't want them to marry a cheater, what do you do? Look at the question again, and then I'm going to give you the options. Do you tell your best friend, sure, the day will be ruined, but better a day ruined than an entire life? Or do you say nothing? Your job is to be supportive and participate in your friend's happiness. What are your thoughts, guys?
I'm going to tell.
You're gonna tell? Why, Brittany?
Yeah. I feel like it will hurt more so in the long run. And also I treat people how I want to be treated. I will want to be told regardless if it ruins my day.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
I'm definitely telling.
I would tell her.
Dominique, you're telling?
I'm definitely telling. Just due to the fact, like, one, I have proof. It's not off of like hearsay or anything. Like, I have proof. So you really can't like argue the facts on that. So then if they still choose to, make the decision, then at least I know, like, I let you know, like, this is what it was. And you still
Okay,
made that decision.
all right. Thank you for sharing. Yasmin?
So I will go about this two ways. If I caught them, I would actually go to them to give them the opportunity to confess their sentence,
Okay,
to get it out there. They don't have to do it in front of everybody, pull it to the side. At the end of the day, the world's going to find out. And if they don't do it in a timely manner at the same time, I will tell my best friend, like, look, at the end of the day, I'm gonna still support you, whatever you want to do. If you still want to marry him, if he apologizes, whatever didn't happen, I'm still there for you. But I'm giving them the option. And as well, they're not doing it fast enough for me. I'm still telling my best friend.
okay, all right. I appreciate that. We face ethical dilemmas every single day. Let's look at another dilemma real quick. You are an eyewitness to a crime. A man has robbed a bank, but instead of keeping the money for himself, he donates it to a poor orphanage that can now afford to feed, clothe, and care for its children. You know who committed the crime. If you go to the authorities with the information, there's a good chance that the money will be returned to the bank, leaving a lot of kids in need. What do you do? The options. Do you turn the robber into the authorities? Right is right. Or do you say nothing since the money went to what you deem a good cause?
Can I say something first?
Absolutely.
Okay, I might sound a little biased, but whatever. I wouldn't say nothing because we do have Robin Hoods out here that try to give back to the community. And I'm going to say the poor communities where you have these politicians and all these rich people that steal from the poor every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my take on it. And I'm not saying that it is right because, what if he would have hurt somebody or what if it would have went different? But I'm looking at what right now that the positive of it, that he saw that it seemed fit for something that needed. It was a cause. And I look at it like if when we go out here and work every day to bust our butts to just get penny sometime. And you be like, dang. So that's my take on it.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing. That's why we're in ethics together, Yasmin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's gonna give a shot at it?
So it really depends. So either way it go, a crime is a crime and it's wrong. I do like what the bank robber decided to do with the money. I think this might sound bad, but the motivation for me to automatically tell is like the reward money, honestly.
Okay.
It will
Okay.
be the reward money.
That was
I hear you. I hear you.
But that's hard because it's for an orphanage. But yeah, I think I would tell or maybe mind my business because you just never know what someone else is capable of. I don't want my name to be put into anything and then something happens to me or my family. So.
Okay, I get it. I get it. Thank you for sharing, Brittany. Dominique.
Okay, so everybody made a great point. I definitely agree with both. It's like, I should mind my business because you don't know what somebody capable of, but I'm gonna just go with my first mind and say, I'm not gonna say nothing
Okay.
because I ain't no snitch.
Okay.
Plain and simple.
Because snitches get stitches, right?
Exactly. And the kid's not gonna be able to eat.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, that's it. Straight to the point.
All right. Well, I appreciate.
Wait, can I say one more thing?
Uh-huh.
And sometimes in those orphanages, those people that run those places don't even do right by half of those children. Sometimes in those orphanages, they get that grant money or the charity money, and they act like they do what they do, and these kids still come up with nothing. Like, for example, instead of a Jan Sport book bag, they get them a 99-cent book bag. You got all this money, and you mean to tell me you can't get these kids a good book bag for the rest of the year? But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Thank you guys for sharing. I got one more that I need to show you guys. All right, here you go. Another ethical dilemma. A little more complicated. Let's look at this. This is called midnight death. You have worked years to be successful in your father's or you can choose your mother's business, okay? Whatever scenario you want to use, all right? You felt obligated to take over something that he or she worked their whole life to build this business, and it was left to you by your parent. However, the large business in town has seriously cut into your profits for several years, and your family has just managed to scrape by. Your father's health has declined, and he has been hospitalized. He has a substantial life insurance policy that unfortunately expires at midnight. If he dies before midnight, you will inherit enough money to pursue a career you have always dreamed of and provide adequately for your family. Everybody understand the scenario?
Yes. I'm ready for the answers.
I
Yes.
like Dominique. Everybody else understand the scenario? We good?
Yeah, I'm just reading the last bit real quick. If he
Okay.
died,
So his health is declined, okay? He's been hospitalized now. He has this substantial life insurance, but it's a term life insurance that expires at midnight. Now, if he dies before midnight, because he's dying, get it? He's dying. If he dies before midnight, you inherit that money. Enough money to pursue your career you have always dreamed of and provide adequately for your family, which means that the company that you inherited that's going down the drain, you don't even have to worry about that no more. We good?
I'm good. I'm good. I got it.
Okay. Do you pinch the oxygen line, making it possible for your father to die, or smother him with a pillow? Do you tell your father or mother the problem and let him or her suggest a solution and go by what he or she says? Or do you do nothing, as you cannot imagine living with yourself if you terminate your dad or your mother's life?
For me, I would do nothing.
Nothing?
Because at the end of the day, that's my dad. He brought me into this world.
Okay.
Some things are just priceless. And the money gonna come regardless. That's how I feel. Like if I have to, my dad has to die for me I'd rather have his last days talking with him and him loving on his grandchildren and we laughing than having to end his life just to get some money. Cause I'm a go-getter. So I'm gonna follow my dreams regardless. And God got me. So that's how I look at it.
Understood, but let me ask you this. Did you understand dad is going to die anyway?
I understood that.
Okay,
Loud and clear.
all right, good.
Mhm.
Awesome. Great response, Yasmin.
Okay.
Anyone else?
So automatic no is the pitch the line, the oxygen line. I just feel like that is so selfish. Like me being the only last person to even be able to speak to him. I'm sure there's other people that would like to speak with my father or my mom also. I will explain the issue to him because if the life insurance is expiring, maybe I could pay the next month or we can come up with a solution for that. But if he says some crazy solution like, well, oh, just kill me, I like, no, I wouldn't do something like that. But as far as like financially fixing an insurance policy or anything of that sort, then I'll do something like that.
Okay.
Okay, so I wasn't expecting those as the options. So now I'm a little bit torn.
Okay, okay.
Um, well, we're definitely not gonna do nothing because we gotta eat. And when daddy's gone, somebody gotta take care of the family.
Mhm.
And obviously he deemed it to me, so he gonna trust my judgment. But I'll go to him and tell him the problem, and he could suggest, and then I might take it to mom, and then like, we might have to do this as a group. But one way or another, we getting that money. Because like, why am I gonna hold on to a business? Like you said, the daddy gonna die anyway. His day is coming. So like, why would I waste time, like more time on a business if like we've just been scraping by? I'm sure that's not the life that he wanted, but his pride like kept him in a situation because like I worked my whole life for this so that my family can have this, but you really not giving them nothing because they just scraping by. So like I might not pinch the line or smother him with a pillow, but can we hire somebody else to do it within policy or something? Like they could get a portion, but like, can we all just come to the agreement that we need to get this money because we can still like build something great in his honor because it's his money anyway. But yeah, so it's a hard one, but somebody's got to make the tough decisions here.
I get you, Dominique. I get you. I hear what you're saying. Do you hear the different perspectives that we've just come up with, even in these scenarios? Because these are difficult things that people have to think about all the time with euthanasia, right to life, those kinds of things come up all the time. So there are many questions that we're dealing with today in ethics, in aesthetics, or the philosophy of art. Philosophers are concerned about aesthetics and they ask basic questions about foundational things about arts and objects of beauty. If you've ever gone to an art show, and I don't know if you've ever seen like a dot on a canvas and people just standing there and staring and going, oh, wow. You just look at that, look at that. And I'm always confused personally by the dot on a canvas. I don't see beauty in a dot on a canvas because I don't have an aesthetic philosophy of art. I don't have the emotional expressiveness. I don't have the buy-in to a dot on a canvas. You, Yasmin, Dominique, Brittany, you might be able to stare at that dot all day and see all kinds of things in it that I can't see. Because you may have an emotional connection to that truth of that art that I cannot find the object of beauty in. Okay? When we try to answer these questions about the world, about philosophy, about a particular subject, we are dealing with true moral philosophy. By the way, are you guys dot on the canvas kind of people?
No, it has to be actually like very interesting, not a dot on the canvas. I don't understand that. I guess they're making their own theory up in their head what the dot could be.
Okay.
I'm not a dot, but some lines I will find intricate enough because I'm like how people do like paint splats and stuff, and then they end up, yeah, but not like a dot. Like, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you, Brittany? Are you a dot?
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I said I'm not a dot type of person, but I like good artwork, but it has to be like actual like figures and something that can give me a couple of scenarios, but not a dot. I
Okay.
never got that.
Yeah. So it's very different. So when we're thinking about ethics, I want to talk to you about what's generally called normative ethics. And this is important for you because this is going to keep coming up throughout this semester. Normative ethics. Normative ethics defines a thesis about what is good, right, or just. Again, normative ethics defines a thesis about what is good, right, or just. And normative ethics are distinguished from meta ethics, which means beyond. Meta ethical inquiry asks questions about the nature of ethics that are beyond us, including the meaning of ethical terms and judgments. But when we're talking about normative ethics, we're talking about these kinds of ethical and other types of evaluation.
Oh, wait.
Okay?
I'm sorry. Can you go back one more time?
Sure. Was there a question about this one?
No, I'm gonna just screenshot it. I just wanted to because I take notes for certain things.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Also remember that I will also provide you the PDF too.
okay. But you can go on. I'm good.
Oh, okay, no problem. But do what you need to do for your note taking. I completely understand. I want to slow down for you in whatever way, because everyone learns differently. I like to hear and write. I'm one of those people too. So our learning styles can be different. Okay. So ethical and other types of evaluation, we can distinguish between what they call empirical or descriptive claims, which state factual beliefs and evaluative judgment. This is what states whether or not there are facts that are good or bad, just or unjust, right or wrong. And these evaluative judgments are called normative judgments. This is important. Normative judgments, moral judgments that are evaluative because they place value, whether or not that's negative or positive, on some action or practice, such as capital punishment. Normative values. So this is how it's broken down. You have your descriptive, which is your empirical judgment, that would say that capital punishment acts or does not act as a deterrent. Descriptive judgment, capital punishment acts or does not act as a deterrent. That usually follows some type of study, some type of statistical data, some type of idea that helps us understand why this does or does not happen as a deterrent. I'm giving you capital punishment as an example, but you can do this with any subject. Descriptive judgment has empirical data. That's why you see the word empirical. Empirical data is usually from studies, from material and data that has shown or proven that this does or does not deter, or that this does or does not do whatever it does. Okay, there's something that is data driven about descriptive judgment. Normative judgment, on the other hand, where they say capital punishment is justifiable or unjustifiable, does not have to be based upon any concrete empirical data. It is usually basically your opinion based upon the things that you have been led to believe in your life. I'm going to go over this again, and I'm going to go over it a couple of times so that you can understand the difference, because this is something that's going to come up again and again and again. Descriptive judgment is empirical. It has data that supports it. Whenever you've written papers, whether or not you were in high school or your college, and they said, we want sources, right? It's usually data of people who said, we've done a study of this, we've done a study of that, and this justifies why we believe this is our support, okay? Normative or moral judgment comes under another lens. It comes under what I have been led to believe is justifiable or unjustifiable from a whole different set of lens that may not be driven by data. I'm going to further talk about this. Look at this chart here. This is a chart that talks about normative judgments. What did we say normative judgments were? Normative judgments do not have empirical data, right? It's what we determine is justifiable or unjustifiable. Descriptive judgment is empirical because it has data with it. And it tells us whether or not something actually happens based upon data. So looking at this, let's look at this. Normative judgments happen in, yes, Brittany.
So just to clarify, so you stated that normative is if I did something, I see it as a negative and a positive, and the empirical is based on the last 20 years, because I did something wrong, this is the punishment I should receive?
No, not exactly. But let's look at this chart together, and then I'll take your question after that. And maybe this will make it clearer for you. Can you give me a minute to try to finish clarifying?
That's fine.
Okay. Normative judgments is based upon our own ethics. However we form our ethics to believe whatever we believe. Normative judgments are also formulated by laws. You and I know, based upon what we understand about our government, is that laws are created in our Congress, right? They're delineated in our states, delineated in our federal through our Congress. Our Congress just make laws, and they're not always justified based upon any data whatsoever. It's basically, you have an idea, I have an idea, we talk to our congressperson, and this is all from, if you remember, how a bill becomes a law. You tell someone, I think we need to have a stop sign here on our block. There's nothing that tells you that there's been accidents, there's no data here, but because I'm friends with the congressman comes and says, okay, we think we should have a stop sign at this particular place. So we're going to make this a law that we're going to have a stop sign at this particular corner, regardless of what we know, if there's traffic problems, if people have been hit, if there's kids that are crossing, all of that, because we believe that this is the right thing to do. Laws are not always based upon data. It's not always based upon research. Laws are based upon individuals of what they think is justifiable or not justifiable. Are you following me so far, everyone? Or have I lost you yet?
I'm here.
I think I'm here.
Okay. Aesthetics is another form of normative judgment. If I am an interior decorator and you ask me, and you hire me to put together a modern room for you, then if I put modern furniture in there, and then I bring in an antique chair, is that going to look like a modern room? Anyone?
Can you repeat that?
If you hire me as an interior decorator and you ask me to put together for you a modern room with modern furniture, but I bring in also an antique chair into your modern room, is that a modern room for you?
No.
Because you didn't follow what I asked. I said a modern, not nothing with antiques or anything like that.
Right.
Well, I have.
Okay, go on. Yes.
I was just gonna say, because I actually like to interior design,
Okay.
but I still think it would be considered modern, because just because you have something like that's considered an antique doesn't mean it can't like be fleshed with the modern idea of the room.
I'm so glad you said that, because normative judgments would say it's okay for you to have that antique right there in the middle of it. Other extremists would say you've just ruined the whole room. Because normative judgments are not based upon data or any kind of line things. They're more opinionated. They're more feel good. They're more what I justify. Just like Dominique can say, as she is a interior kind of DIY kind of girl, that kind of could work. Depending upon what the shades and the colors and what have you are. But a purist who would be on the extreme of modern would say, that's a no, Dominique. You would never do. Normative judgment. Very opinionated, very justifiable not justifiable based upon my opinion of what is right or wrong. Still with me yet?
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
get it now, the normative of the judgment. So it's more based off of opinions. Okay.
Okay. In religion, religious leaders tell members of their community, whatever their religion is, what they ought to do because they're required by their religious beliefs. Even though every religion may have different types of religious beliefs, but they're adamant based upon whatever has been given to them in their religious sector. And those who may be Muslim would not follow what Mormons do. What Mormons would do may not follow what Christians would do. What Christians might do may not follow what Buddhists would do or Hindus would do. But they are told by the religious leaders that they are required to do certain things in order to incorporate their religious beliefs. Still with me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Customs. In some countries, people ought to bow before their elders or use eating utensils in a certain way. This is a matter of customs. So if I am from a custom and a country that requires me to bow in my custom, then if I meet with you, Brittany, Yasmin, Dominique, and I come to you and I bow before you, and then if you don't bow before me because I might be older than you, then in my country, I would be considered insulted by you because you didn't bow. Not because you were being disrespectful to me, but because my custom tells me that people ought to bow to the elders. Is it universal? No, but it's my custom because it's a normative judgment. Are you still following me?
Yes.
I'm still following.
Descriptive judgments, on the other hand, are based upon sociology, the things that have been studied about people over time, and psychology, studies of people over time. Those things have data and studies that are either longitudinal studies, where they have these long studies that have gone over years, or they've had, simple studies where they have either a study that was doing, whether they would do a quantitative study where they did surveys, or they did a qualitative study where they did interviews of people, and then they crunched the data and they were able to say, we interviewed so many people, this is what we evaluated based upon this. And in the case of the capital punishment, so going back to this scenario, in sociology or in psychology, in the studies that have been done, we learned that it's either a deterrent, capital punishment is either a deterrent or it's not a deterrent based upon the studies. However, you and I may make a decision about capital punishment based upon our religion, based upon our own ethics. Our own ethics come from how we were raised in our families. Some things that you and I learn from our families tells us what's right and wrong. What we grew up to believe is right or wrong. Like you may have been told, you cannot date a boy until you are 16 years old. Well, why? Well, because I said so. And then because you didn't ask the questions really, and you didn't get any answers, you may wind up taking your children and doing the same thing to them. And then they ask you why, and you don't know because it's just because. These are things that we develop our ethics from our family members, our neighborhoods, our communities. We develop our normative judgments from the law that is never rooted in descriptive judgments, but opinions and people and ideas and politics. Aesthetics, just like Dominique was able to prove to us, that aesthetics is all opinionated, because for a traditional modernist, they would never put an antique in the middle of their room. Religions are different for different people, and then customs. All of these things take place. That makes sense? Or did I lose you guys?
No,
So
still here.
just to make sure I'm understanding like I think I am.
Okay.
So basically the normative would be not based on facts
Right,
overall.
right.
So if there's no factual information to back it up, more so just like you said, something you learned, or something that had just become a standard practice because that's what like your normal is,
Right.
would be normative. And then the descriptive,
Mhm.
okay, that one is purely facts. Like you have to have the facts behind it in order to make that justifiable.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Very good. Any questions about that? We are at 10:57. And what do you all think so far about ethics?
It's very informative. It's a lot, but it's very helpful information. And I'm looking forward to the next rest of the weeks of the school semester.
Okay. Anyone else?
It gives me a method to my madness.
I like that too. Good. Brittany? She might be having problems with her sound again.
One more. And with me being in business, because I'm also a chef on the side,
Oh.
I plan on opening up a food truck. So with this ethics class will also help with that, because I'm going to be dealing with a lot of people day-to-day basis. So it tends to customer service, standards, morality, integrity, how I want to deal and how I want to run my business. So yes.
That's great. That's very good. Well, I believe that we're going to have a great time. We have quite a few other classmates that didn't make it today that are supposed to be in this class. I'm looking for them to be here on Thursday, but I can already tell that we're going to have some great discussions. We're going to have a great time, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you guys. I'm looking forward to it because I know that you all are bright and that you all are critical thinkers, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So have a wonderful day. I am so honored to meet you. My telephone number,
Brittany wrote in the chat box.
in case you didn't see it in the message that I sent to you, I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys so that you guys can jot it down. Feel free to text me. Feel free to call me if you have any questions. I never want you all to ever feel like you can't approach if you have a question.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a great day. You can stay as long as you need to chat down the number. And then once you're done that, you can go on and sign out for today.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.